Well, we're working on the irrigation system today as well as the water feature, and you know you can't do anything without power. And we got the power authority here today, and I got the magic button, you might say, that's going to power up the entire house. There you go, Daryl. You can snap that into place. It's just that easy. Well, from hydro to hydro, being water for the irrigation system. And with me, I've got Dave from University Sprinklers. How you doing, Dave?
Good, Joe.
Hey, this is the time to get the sprinkler system in, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great time for for us to do this work. We're going to tie in the system right this afternoon.
Now, you got a hole here, doggone near 6 feet deep. What's the scoop?
That's right. Well, what we're hooking onto here is the main water supply that comes from the water meter box, which is right here.
So that's the main city water.
This is the main city water right here, and it heads into the house, which of course supplies the house. Now we want to hook onto this as soon as we can, closest to this meter box, and go into our main tie-in.
Now, why are we going into the water, the main city water supply?
Well, we want to get as much water pressure and water flow as we can to keep the number of zones to the minimum and make an efficient system for the customer. So
okay, that way we're not going to go through any pressure system as far as the metering system.
No, not in this particular application. The pressure is low enough that the static water right from the city is a great pressure for us to hook on.
But the meter is here, but the pressure reducing valve is inside the home, so therefore we're in between the two, so we got full city pressure.
Yeah, we got as much as we can get right here.
What is that normally?
Around this area it's about 85 psi, yeah, and normally in your house it's going to be somewhere around 40-50 psi, so we're getting almost twice as much as we get if we hooked in inside the house.
So we got like a manifold system.
Yeah, what we've got here is Dave's just hooked onto the main water supply, and he's going to bring a plastic pipe up, and it's all a CSA PEX pipe, cross-linked polyethylene. It's going to go into this manifold assembly, and this is kind of the guts of the irrigation system. The water supply comes in here. This is the main shutoff for the irrigation system. This is our backflow preventer here. This is required by the city to ensure that any water that gets into the system doesn't get back into the domestic water supply, so it's very important. And then this here is our blowout key, what we use to winterize the system. We'll come back every fall and blow air through the whole thing to make sure nothing freezes.
Hey, I can tell you, a great spot to put your garden hose if you want good pressure.
Hose down your driveway or the city sidewalk. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a nice option to have.
Yeah.
And this here?
We've got 3 electric valves here. This is actually going to be a 5-zone system, but 3 of the electric valves we're putting here and 2 we're going to put somewhere else. So you can see this main line will continue further out into the field later on.
Right.
But these 3 electric valves will be controlled by the timer inside the garage, and the timer tells these valves when to turn on and when to turn off.
Excellent. Now, what about when we go to another location, like we're going to have concrete placed, obviously we're going to be putting in sidewalks, and do you prepare for that now?
Yeah, we do actually, and we can take a look at that right now. Right over here, where the concrete forming guys have told us that this is about where the front sidewalk's going to go. It's going to kind of meander over to the front stairs. I'm going to
actually meander that over right into the front entrance of the home.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been told that this is where the concrete's going to go, and we've dug down here and put a sleeve in here, and a sleeve is what we use to put the pipes through afterwards.
Right.
So that we don't have to drill underneath the sidewalk.
Just a whole lot of saving of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, there's quite an elevation change that we've had to do at the other side of this building here on the north side. And let's go over there and take a look at what you're going to do there.
Okay.
Well, you can see over here, Dave, that we've had to do our grading with the backhoe, and we've got quite a drop off here. It's about 2.5 feet. We're going to put an Allen block retaining wall in here.
Yeah.
And what about your system as far as getting the irrigation lines in?
Well, this is another good example of things that we have to plan ahead for. If the wall is put up and then we come in afterwards, then there's a good chance we'll undermine the wall. And this is all things that we look at the landscape plan, see what's going to end up happening, and once the plan's finalized, then we can make any minor changes. But this is an important thing to get.
With the system here being, or at least our landscaping being basically dirt right now and being all graded level, that's the time, really, I can't overemphasize, that's the time you want to put the irrigation system in?
That's right. It's a little muddy right now, and we'd like it a little drier, you know, everybody would, but waiting until the grass is down is going to cost even more in time and money, and we'll just end up redoing stuff that the landscapers have done properly the first time.
Now, we've got a water feature going in at the front there, as you can see, and you're going to come around that, so therefore there's no problem with all of a sudden they say, that's where we want to put the water feature. Oh, we got irrigation lines in.
That's right.
Now we know.
Now we know, and in fact, we've already talked to the landscape contractor for the pond, and he's mentioned that he'd like a water supply for the pond so that he can refill it automatically. So that's something that we've also planned on.
Hey, that's great, and that'll be from the main water system again before such time as it goes in through the pressure reducing valve in the house.
Yeah.
Now, all of this being said, you're going to have 5 zones, 3 from the box that we were just at. You're going to put another 2 elsewhere.
Yeah.
How is this all controlled?
This is all going to be controlled by an electronic timer, which will go inside the garage, and we can take a look at that as well. And it's very easy for the homeowner to program when they want the system coming on and for how long and which different zones.
Let's go and take a look at it.
Alrighty. Okay, so here's the brains of it all, Shell. We've got a Rainbird E-Class controller, which will give them control over the whole system, and this is where the homeowner can program in which zones they want to come on and what time of the day and that sort of thing.
Now, what about the system? It's getting ready to be totally attached as far as wires attached in the proper zone locations, but what's your next step?
The next step is we've called an inspection for tomorrow for that tie-in area that I showed you. The city likes to take a look at the backflow preventer there. And once we've got the concrete poured and the rough grading done, then our crews will come in and install the remainder of the irrigation system.
And that's the heads?
That's the heads and the risers and that sort of thing, the nozzles.
Right.
Test it all out. And then that's when we'll come back to this controller. We'll wire everything into the final zone locations and test it out.
And test it out, and bingo, Bob's your uncle, we got water.
Yeah, we're ready for the sun to shine.
Hey, isn't that great? And one thing about irrigation systems, it gives you that control of water restrictions, and that's very important with today's water shortages across the nation, actually.
It sure is, and what we tell our customers is rather than setting this and forgetting it for the whole season, it's more important that you come out here maybe once a week and change the times just based on the weather, whether it's overcast or really sunny, that sort of thing, and you can adjust that easily with the push of one button.
And one of the things I don't want to overlook, that your system, as far as university sprinklers, you come and you winterize and then also get it all ready for the season in the spring.
Absolutely. We offer full service and year-round, including the winterizing in the spring.
That means a lot.
It sure does.
Dave, thanks very much. It's just great. Looking forward to seeing the whole system out there doing its thing.
I think it'll look great.
Super. Hey, Ken, I didn't think you were going to be part of this water feature. How you doing?
Very well, Shal. How are you
Good,
today?
good. Well, listen, hey, come on up here and tell me about this whole water feature. Folks, we got Ken from the beautiful Squire Water Gardens Systems, and hey, tell us about this.
Well, when we got here this morning, all we had was a flat piece of ground, and what we did is we marked it out according to what we discussed previously of size of pond that you're looking for.
Almost looks like a hot tub.
Well, not quite. Once we're done, you'll see a dramatic difference between the two. But we dug it out. We dug it down in shelves. All this was dug by hand so that we can get our accurate shelves built in.
That's why. I was going to say, why don't you have a little backhoe for doing this?
Well, no little backhoe is accurate enough to build the curves and edges and get it really, really perfect the way I need it.
Needs that real human touch.
Yeah, that way it looks a lot more natural. Once you put machinery on here, you're not going to have the smooth lines that you'd find in nature. And
now I see you got some, well, it looks like a water, what is it, a reservoir you got up the top there?
Well, what I've got there is what's called the biofault of this particular system, and on this end here, what I've got is a skimmer. And what happens is the pump is located in the skimmer, which draws all the water into the skimmer, pulling all the surface debris with it, like leaves and branches, which will make the cleanup of this particular pond so simple because it'll be working 24 hours a day, drawing all the leaves into a basket or a net, and to clean it out, you grab the net and dump it over and put her down, and that way you're not always having to fish around trying to get leaves and branches out of the bottom of your pond.
Hey, you mean maintenance friendly?
Maintenance super friendly. If you've got about 4 minutes a month, you can have a pond.
Wow. Now what about, hey, we're going to have some fish in here?
Well, we're going to have some
I got
fish.
a fishing pole ready.
Well, not quite that kind of fish, but I've got some fish in the truck waiting to go in here. And
You mean you got fish here? It's going to go in that quick? You got fish here today already?
They're here and they're ready to go in. They're ready to go.
Wow. And my goodness sakes, it's just about lunchtime now. And
Just about lunch. We've got the hole dug. Shortly, we're going to be putting in the felt liner, which is what you're standing in front of. And then after the felt liner, which is more of a protective coating, we're going to put the rubber EPDM liner in, which is a fish-grade rubber liner. It's 45 mil thick, and it's made specifically for use in water gardens.
Now, I see you got a bunch of rocks around. You got some big, some small. You even got some red lava rock. Where's that all about?
Well, once the liner goes in, what we'll be doing is covering the entire bottom of the pond with rocks and gravel, and that'll help with bacterial growth. Bacteria is also a combatant or a competition for the nutrients. That'll keep your algae level down, and it'll keep your pond crystal clear.
Now, water gardens, really, we're talking about gardens in the form of plants as well.
That's correct, and that's another thing that's waiting patiently in the truck. I've got a full array of different plants. I've got some lilies and marginal plants, and when you see by the end of the segment, it'll all be planted and finished complete, and it'll look gorgeous.
Now tell me, when it comes to putting in a water garden like this, Is it best to do it at this time when everything's in its rough state?
Well, yeah, it's a good time as far as the condition of the site, but it's pretty much can be done any time. As long as you're not trying to bring a backhoe across here, once the pond's in, it can be worked around.
So what you're telling me, if this was a fully landscaped lot, an existing home, for
Yep.
example, and someone wanted a water feature, they could actually have a water feature. You'd throw everything out likely on tarps,
Yep.
and then at the end of the day, it would look as though it just kind of sprouted out of the ground.
It'll look like it's always been there. Our main goal building a water feature is to have it look like it's always been there.
Great. Well, we'll let you get back at it, and we'll be back to see you.
Okay, bring your shovel, shall
You bet. Hey, Ken, I've been waiting for this to let these fish away in this pond. It looks gorgeous.
Well, let's get them in there and get them in their new home.
All right.
Let's lay it in there.
And they've been all seasoned to the water temperature?
Yeah, you bet. They've been sitting for the last little while here.
Oh, their new home.
Oh,
Hey,
look at them. Away they go.
goldfish and koi.
You bet.
Wow, those are beautiful. And they're in there, their new environment.
Would you do the honors of plugging it in?
Hey, let me do that. What an asset to this home. That's going to look gorgeous as a water feature in the front lawn here, Ken.
Well, I enjoyed doing it.
Thank you very, very much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that.